Yep, thank you very much for signing in. I haven't even done it, have I? Good afternoon, everybody. Here.
Maskar is not here. I will call him, maybe.
Mazar's here. I see him.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, he's here. Just
okay, I see.
Alan's here. It doesn't like me scrolling down to be evil. Oh. Ashkan, Katarina. Okay, Matisa, Misbah. Mohammed, or Mr. M, Pinar, Udika. So, okay. I think that's pretty much everybody. Make sure everybody has written good morning or good afternoon or hello in the chat, and then we're ready to rock and roll. Okay. And the people that were here just before the 1:30 mark have heard me say this. I'm so excited about today's class. So excited. 2 out of 2, maybe 3 things, but definitely 2 aspects of Excel today are I love them so much, and they are so important. Whether or not you go through your Microsoft certification or not, the learning about the tables, which we're going to be learning about, as well as VLOOKUP, key. Those 2 are everybody says I know about VLOOKUP. I'm going to show you how to really know VLOOKUP and kick butt. That's my goal today. So when we left our intrepid little group last week, or medium-sized group last week, we left at the range or naming ranges. Okay. We're also going to do one of my least favorite things today too. But I guess you win something, you lose some. Okay. So last I checked, we were at just after. I think I already have my book open. Yes, we had done.
Yeah, I think so. We are continue the pages 41. 40. Yeah. Am I right?
Exactly. You are better than right. You're perfect.
Yeah. The naming tables, right?
Yes, ma'am. So the file that we have to have open. The file we have to have open is going to be called monthly call volume table. And I'm going to share it now. Whoops, as I rip my book. Monthly call volume table. And I'm about to start sharing my screen with you. And there would be share screen. Go like that. Multiple people so you guys can share too. Go to share screen. And I'm going to grab the monthly call volume tab and share. Okay, so I'm sharing, we're recording. I'm also going to be saving the chat, so if you have any questions or anything, we also have the chat being saved too. Okay. How do I start this off? As I said, one of the key features, factors of Excel is being able to manipulate data. Yes, we know that, Deborah. Thank you very much. But how can we do that in an effective way? What do they tell us about tables? They don't tell us anything about tables, do they? A table is almost it's a data set that is actually gone from this stuff here is a data set. Bunch of numbers, bunch of columns, bunch of rows. Each column is think about each column as a field. Well, you guys all know SAP. You know what this stuff looks like. So each column is a field and each row is a record. Okay. And so right now it's just, oops, don't do that, Deborah. I'm going to erase that from my recording. That's embarrassing. So right now it's just basically a data set. And it's almost like, think about it as raw values. There's no, or you've got a bunch of things ready to go be cooked right now just before it goes into the pot. Now we're going to do that. Okay. There are some rules. I'm going to be jumping on, maybe not quite in the order of the book, but I'm going to give you some really important rules to live by with tables, because everything we learn today, we're going to read to a certain extent, we are going to apply again when we get to pivot tables. And timing permitted, I have a little project set up for us to be able to create our own dashboards. Okay, that's one of the things I have planned down the road there, and I'm really hoping that we can do that. But that's for another day. Right now, it's a data set. There's no structure to it, and so what we're going to do is, okay. It says click anywhere in the table here. If it's okay with you guys, I'm going to make an error because I want to show you something. So it's not in the book, but I want to show you guys something that might well run. So I'm going to, like I said, this is not in the book, by the way. Okay. I want to show you some of the ways things can go wrong in Excel. When good Excel spreadsheets go bad, lesson 1. I would like to be able to insert a table, and it could be a pivot table or a table, one way or the other. I'm not paying attention to how my data is structured. So I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go to Insert tab. All right. Then I'm going to go directly to Table. That's it. Bada bing, or Control T. And my table has headers. I'm doing exactly what most people do, and it's going to look very, very badly wrong. All right, I know now. Yeah, the reason this went badly wrong is, I'm going to undo, Control Z, Control Z. You can never have anything touching your table. Think about your table as an island. Okay, so nothing touches, no cells that you don't want to touch on the top. Obviously, no cells touch it on the left. Nothing at this point on the bottom or to the right. Okay, so now I'm going to come back and do it correctly. So what they did in previous years, in 2013 and 2010, they actually made you select the range, but now they've corrected it for us. So insertion points anywhere in here. Insert tab. Okay, that's better. Okay. And doesn't matter where I am, table. Is this the range? Correct. Because what happens is Excel goes and grabs anything in that range. It cannot tell the difference between the correct data and the incorrect thing. So you make sure that your table is an island. Okay, my table has headers. Yes, it does. Month, sales, inquiries, service inquiries, general inquiries, complaints. Okay. As soon as I click on the OK button, and we go into the table tools, and it says table design. Okay. I'm running 365, so there might be a few tiny weeny things that don't look exactly the same, but the concept has never changed since I think it's 2010. So I've inserted my table. There is a rule of thumb that every object you insert into, and I'm going to explain this in a second, should be named. Like if we create a chart, the chart should have a name. If we create a pivot table, the pivot table should have a name. When we're doing, if we're doing some of the Power Queries, every object that is inserted onto or into Excel, not data, if it's an object of some kind, it should have a name. So instead of being table 1, table 2, table 3, chart 1, chart 2, chart 3, the first thing they're going to want us to do is to give this table a name. And the same rules apply with the range names. Remember, pretty much the same rules apply with the range names, because once we name it, we are actually going to go over here to the naming box and see if it's there. Okay. And I don't even need to highlight it. It knows I'm a table. So I'm in the table designs. And then I'm going to go, as you know, I practice everything ahead. We've probably done it, but anyways, that's why it says table 2. So yours will be different because I created it and got rid of it, created it again. So I'm going to highlight it. And what is it they would like me to call it? And I can't see. cell underscore volume. Okay. So remembering the rules that we had from last week, cell underscore. Okay. Press the enter key. Okay, so now I'm going to go over to my name box. There it is. So if you want to print it, if you want to go to it, if you want to do something to it, now it's been given a name, and it's much easier than table 1, table 2, table 3. So that is the premise and the reason behind naming each object more than tables. Like I say, every chart should have a name. And you don't have to be descriptive, just something called volume or whatever it is. So.
Debbie, may I say something?
Yes.
On our first class, you asked us how we would like you to conduct the classes, whether or not we would like to, attempt the things you teach us on our own or after class. Yeah. And then I answered, I said, I'd prefer to do it after class. I feel like not the whole class may not have agreed with me, and I feel like I feel guilty. I've been feeling guilty. I want I wouldn't mind trying it myself right now.
Give it a go. Yes.
Something like that. And I don't know if the class agreed with me or not, but I feel like I spoke on behalf of everyone, and they again didn't necessarily.
You can do whatever you want. Okay, let me answer that question for you. You can do whatever you want. If I know that you're working side by side, I will slow down and go step by. I'm going to go step by step, but there's a lot of information I want to be able to share with you. Okay. So absolutely. And that being the case, I'm going to, who are these people? Does anybody know who these people are? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I feel like there are a bunch of people missing. Like Udeka,
Udeka's just here.
Raphael. I don't have their contact information. Actually, I think I have Raphael.
Do, but if you don't, so tell you what I'm going to do. If you want to go, as a group, you don't have to do it this way. People learn differently, and so it is perfectly fine if you want to go you want to work side by side. If I know that's what you want to do, then I will just modify my tone, modify my speaking.
No, that was wonderful. It's being recorded. It's just
do whatever you like. Yeah, it's entirely up to you. You are learning, so you grab what you can from it. So, by all means,
I don't want to slow down the class if classes agree with me. I can try it on my own later. Yeah. It just class. Would you guys input your opinion?
We can do both. We do know that we can do both. I just did a class this morning where I did exactly that. About half a dozen of the students were working independently, and they were doing their own thing. Half of them the other half were working with me side by side. And then I had a few of them that touched base somewhere along the line where I'm saying, I've gotten to this point. So you could be the only person that works side by side, and that's fine. Absolutely.
Yes, sorry, last week I told myself that I will do the practice after the class, and I wouldn't have any time for doing that.
Bingo.
So I prefer
life. Don't talk to me about life. That's a quote from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
I prefer doing at the same time with you.
Side by side.
Yes.
Absolutely. If you want to. The only thing you're going to have to remind me of if I go too fast or I assume or skip a step, because I've done this so many years, I could probably do it in my sleep. So if I miss something, please do speak up immediately. Don't feel that you're offending me or anything. I am here for you guys.
Thank you.
It's your responsibility to
take
as much as you can from it. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Look, you're tolerating my pink hair. What more can I ask, okay?
I like your pink hair.
Thank you. My pink hair likes you too. All right. So to the two people, welcome. And we're just getting our way. So I guess to answer the question, are you good enough at the point where do you have the file available to you? Do you want me to post it for you?
Yes, I have it.
All right, then we're going to rock and roll together. So if you want to do it now, if you want to do it after, it's good by me. So I've inserted my table. I've given it a name. And you notice I've actually run into a bit of a problem here. I don't see any table tools here. Let me actually make my life worse. It's not exactly in the book, so bear with me. This is all the stuff that's not in the book you need to know. Okay, so, and this is going to be with tables, charts, pivot tables, and other objects. You're going to find the same thing. Clicking anywhere in the table, still not seeing table tools. All is not lost. Go up to your ribbon.
I'm not sure what a pivot table is, Debbie.
It's like a table on steroids. You can do it's like a table on steroids combined with oh my god, what is that? Rubik's Cube. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
Oh,
all right.
Yeah, I can explain. It will save you a lot of time because it's automatically upgraded every time you change data.
Yes. Yeah. And our project is going to be, we're going to be creating, we are going to be, I shouldn't even be telling you this, but I'm going to tell you now. I have a project that we're going to be working on. It's going to be above and beyond the work. And we are going to be creating ourselves a simple dashboard, nothing fancy. And it's going to be based on a simple little range of data like this. Actually, it's a lot more, but yeah. So we're going to create it. We are going to create ourselves a dashboard. Okay, Udeka's coming back in the room. Okay. So I've kind of diverted. I apologize. But so you're working along beside me or not, that's fine. So I've inserted the table. I've clicked, as soon as I activate it, I want to make sure I see. You may see table tools or table design. I don't know which, depending, your mileage may vary. Okay. And in the properties field, or properties group, we created the name cell volume, following the same rules as range names. Okay. Okay. The next thing they would like us to do, so that's step number 5. Step number 6 is we need to be able to turn on the table, the total row function. What the total row function is. Right now, we're going to be doing some calculations with the tables. When we click on the total row, you're going to see a row appear to the bottom here. Okay. And we're going to see at least one formula or function in it. So let's do that, shall we? Table design tab. In the checkbox here, we have the total row. Normally, I do a bit of a tour around here. We'll sort of make it up as we go along. No, I'm not making, okay, I'm not making up as I go along. It's just a phrase. It's an English phrase. Okay. So as soon as I turned on the total row, switch on, switch off, switch on. Also, before I go any further, I'm going to zoom in a lot. And I learned something. I learned that she was doing something on Teams. And I saw a video about, because one of the biggest complaints people have is being able to see, not so much I can zoom in I can zoom in here, that's easy. But what if you wanted to see what's going on up here? So I'm going to turn on very, very briefly the magnifier so you can see what I'm talking about. It's going to make you feel seasick, so bear with me 1 minute. And up. So now, if I can do this, now you can actually see. I'm not going to do this all the time, but that way I can show you where total row is currently. And I'm not going to scroll down, but it's on the bottom there if I turn it off. So I'm going to try my darndest to okay, back to normal, close it off. So I have that facility available. If at any point if something in the ribbon, if you don't see it, please do ask me to turn on the magnifier. And no, that's not a problem. So I'm zooming in so we can see I want to very much, let's go up to 8160. Okay. I wanted to be able to show you the total row. Okay. And as default, the last column, if there's a bunch of numbers here or values here, what will happen is you will automatically see the formula, and it does not look, in fact, if you look in the formula bar, it says equal subtotal 109 complaints. Okay. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the subtotal function because you did cover it in the first book. Okay, and the reason that they use the subtotal function is because somewhere along the line, you can't use sum, okay, because we may be filtering out rows, we may be, there's a lot of things that might be happening to the table. And so the safest way for them using the structure of the table, the subtotal is a safe, plus just that's the way they did it. That's why you see the subtotal function. It is still sum, but, and you know that is because I'm going to click on the little arrow here. And if I select sum, you know it's sum. You don't, at this point, we don't have to worry about what the syntax is here. But I know if I don't say something, I know that somebody's going to ask me about that. So I want us to give you an explanation of why it looks like that. Okay. So I've turned that on. So that was step number 6. Step number 7, I've done, that's B16. Okay, so what it says, I would like to find the total of all my sales inquiries. So I go to cell B16. When I click on there, the drop-down box or the selection box appears, and I just say select sum. If we had text here, so let's say we had like red, green, blue, yellow, we can still count whatever we have in there. But if it's a number or if there are values in here, then yeah. Okay. Okay, the other thing too, if I skip a step, please, and it's important, please let me know, because I said I've done this so many years, I almost do it without thinking. And so it also says, let's do the same for column C and column D. So that's what, so step number 7 and 8. So column C, so the total for service inquiries, select the cell, select sum, and the total, the sum for general inquiries, select the cell, and select the sum. Okay.
I have a question. Why when firstly click the total row, what all column calculate sum? Should I do always manually or shouldn't? It will become automatically or not?
Yes,
For
and yes.
all column.
Yes,
Okay.
and yes, and yes. Okay, okay, let me just turn off the, so go to table design. Let's go to my total row. If I turn it on, what happens is Excel goes to the last column. It says, is that are those values? If they are, it automatically makes the assumption this is where your total row of some kind is. So it says total row, boom. Now, remember what I did last time, unfortunately, but this is the one that you'd normally see. The rest of these guys are entirely up to you. So to answer your question, yes and yes. You can add things, but if you don't, if I was to turn this off, if you were to apply the total row now, it would just do the last column, making the assumption that's where your calculations are. Okay.
Deborah?
You don't need to have the total column on. That's entirely up to you. There
Deborah?
are a couple of sorry.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
I just tried another formula, which is equal sum, and it gives me a wrong answer. Why does it?
Okay. Did you do it in the total row?
Sorry?
Which cell did you do equal sum?
All of them.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me explain this one. As soon as we created or switched on the table feature or function, if you want to call it that, then there's a different set of rules applied to this structure. When we you know what? Let me just turn this off for a second. And does it mean equals sum?
Yes. Yes, that's
You notice it looks different. So the expression for this is called the nomenclature, or what we call things. So the cell volume in what the heck did I call this thing? I can still do it. That's not a problem. But you can't do both. Okay, so you get some here. Subtotal, subtotal, subtotal. Okay. And you notice actually, so it says you notice it says you've got the here. I can do this. You've got the sum function left bracket, then you've got the square braces. The square braces automatically represent the column called, or the field called complaints. Okay, so that's why I said there's a whole set of rules that go when you're working with a table that are slightly different from what we normally do. Does it mean you cannot do this? Absolutely, you can do the formulas, but it's normally if I was doing any calculations, I would do it in these rows over here. I would leave the regular functions to include. Can I do this or not? I can go back and go to sum. And then now I've gone back to the structure, because this is how Excel manages and understands and manipulates this structure. Suddenly it's gone from a bunch of cells to an actual physical thing. Probably not the best expression, but so there's a bunch of rules that or a bunch of things that we're gonna discover that are happening. So yeah, good question. Little ahead of where I was, but yeah, absolutely good question. Yes, you can. Should you? Yeah. Do I? No.
Is it so just to confirm, is it because the total row was turned on that the sum formula didn't work?
No, it actually should have worked. So let me go into design. I can turn it off. Okay. So I'm going to make sure there's nothing in there. So I can, with no problem, do equals sum. But if you notice, as soon as I do it, normally if we did that in just a range of data, or data, a structured data, it would automatically select the range for us, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm actually going to do this again. I start off E5. We see E5. Wait for it to change. E5. Okay. As soon as I get to the bottom, it says, so the rules of the name, or how it's been named, has changed. And so what it says is the table structure naming is number 1. It says that's the way we're going to do it. Does it mean you cannot? Yeah, you can. You saw me. I can definitely do that function there. I can do any function I want to. But it's just that this bunch of cells, they are almost, a good word for these are dynamic, because we can, the superpower of a table is being able to incorporate and add more rows, and I don't have to keep updating my formulas. You'll see this. You'll see this as we go through. So yes, you can, as long as you understand that's why it looks the way it does.
Yes, thank you. I get it. Thank you.
No problem. So, okay, so I'm zooming in a bit more. So I've done these. Okay, so you notice I don't see my table. I'm going to put my volume up a bit because I can't hear you guys. I want to be able to hear clearly anything you guys say. So, I click anywhere on my table. As soon as I do that, table design appears. Total. And isn't that cool? It remembers the last thing we did. That's so amazing. So subtotal. And I don't know if anybody got to do the core book, but one of the last lessons in the core book, it talks about an automatic subtotal. Maybe it isn't here. I can't remember. I thought it was in the core book. And it's a certain set of functions. a whole set of rules that go with it. And the reason it uses this is because of the structure of the columns and the rows, the fields, and it just is. I wish I could show you the subtotal function now. So I've done the calculation, so I'm flipping over to page 43. All right. In B19, ooh, all right. In B19, have I missed anything? Nope, I'm good. So, are you sure that's right? Right. Okay, so specify the sum. That seems a bit weird because it certainly says cell B19. They do. I know of the years they have had typos in there, but normally they're corrected. So I'm guessing it's going to be B18 because we need to find the grand total. Okay. I actually ran into this. I did a practice test with my morning students, and I purposefully threw a lot of mistakes into what they were doing today, and they actually started picking out the problems pretty quickly. So you start thinking independently. It says B19. I don't know. Some call volume. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, so equals sum, and I'm not using, okay, CAML underscore. Oh, yeah. You know what? Oh,
hello then. You named your table as cell, not call.
I just realized that. Yeah, see what I mean? You guys are picking that up already. Hangs head in shame. So it says I don't see that. So what I'm going to do, thank you very much, is I'm going to go into my edit. I'm going to change it from call. I think I would learn how to spell. There you go. So I don't recognize that name, and it's exactly the same as the range name. Okay.
Nadia, could you please remind us the trickiest way to find the name of the table if you don't remember it? Remember you?
Yeah. Click on it.
Insert.
Okay, so click on it, table design, and you go there. Or let's say I'm somewhere else.
Inside the form.
Yeah, so I click on it, and then I go and look in here. It says cell volume. I'm going to change it here. Actually, I'm going to leave it because I think it's be safe here. So I can change the name anytime I like to. If I'm not mistaken, let's try this. I'm trying something I have not done in a long time, so bear with me 1 second to answer your question. Formula. Okay, so I'm going to say equals sum. Because we touched on it, we're going to touch on this some more. Nope, it's not there. So it's a range name, but it's not a range name because Excel knows that it's something different. Okay.
Oh, it's working only with range. I see, not with tables.
Yeah.
Defined names, right?
Yeah, the tables, if I was to do it the other way, you see where it says using formula, that's unavailable to me. So it's not a range name, but it behaves like a range name.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, goody.
Thank you.
No problem. This is all the good stuff. So I've done that whole or cell volume, depending on how we spell that. And we can also reference specific locations. This one this one gets a double whammy, okay? And I have to be very careful about how I do this. So it's equals sum again. And I see somebody wanting in, Mazar. I think I can do this now. Yeah, so equals sum left bracket. Now the next thing I have to do is I have to type in the call, or me cell volume. Okay. And if you notice as I type it out, for me, I'm going to see if I can zoom in here for you guys. Okay, so yeah, that's good. So you should be able to see cell volume, the range name here, correct? Okay, so we can go back to over here and go back to normal. So CELL, so I'm going to go to wherever it is on my list. I'm going to double click on it. You know it's correct, it's turned blue. So then it's going to ask me, so that's the name of the table. Which column am I selecting from the table? So it's that building, which room? So it's going to be square bracket. I have a very embarrassing story to tell you about this one. I completely forgot how to actually do range names this way, or the names one day, and I had a brain freeze. So I have the 3 little dots. So months is one heading. Sales inquiries is another heading. So you see them here. So it says for Sales Inc. And I'm going to try and zoom in so you can actually see me do this. Okay. Sales Inc. Close my square brackets, or whatever those stupid things are called. I don't know. Braces. And as soon as I do that, as soon as everything you want to see, everything turned blue. So yep, it recognizes it, but okay, so I go back over here and close. As soon as I do the square bracket or braces, then you notice this, I recognize it. It is what I think it is. That's okay. And then I can just close my bracket. Sometimes you can press enter, sometimes you can't. I'm going to see what happens if I press enter, because usually Excel will complete a formula for me. I'm not 100% sure. Look at that. It does. So we'll put to prove it. Okay. I'm just going to go down a bit now so we can see again. Okay. Hopefully nobody got seasick there. And I'm going to press the escape key to confirm it. Okay. There has to be a better way to do this. And yes, there is. Anytime you hear me say there has to be a better way, you know I'm going to teach it to you.
It still said cell value, and it worked this time. Is it not supposed to be call value? Volume?
Okay. Oh, I did sell that.
But that's what you named it originally. Is that why? Okay,
yes.
I get it. Okay, yeah.
Embarrassingly so, yes.
But you can correct it easily, can't you?
Yes, I can, but then I'd have to make sure that you know what? You've asked, let's do it. Okay.
Thank
You
you.
guys are going to stop asking questions. You know that. We're going to ask a lot. So let's
I'm
go
so
back.
sorry.
No, it's terrific. Please do. The more questions you ask, the better it is, because my rule of thumb is, as I'm doing this, activate here. Okay. My rule of thumb is that if you're asking or thinking it, I can guarantee you somebody else is. When I correct it here, when I correct it in here, that's not a problem, but I'm going to have to go back and correct these 2 cells, just so you know that you're going to see something a little freaky down there. And A, and then press enter. You see that? Isn't that fabulous? It didn't even need to do anything. Yeah. Sometimes Excel is an amazingly beautiful creature, and it does what we want it to. And other times it's like a 4-year-old brat. But yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, so now, so please do, everybody, ask and ask and ask. It's very important to me that you ask questions. If I don't know it, I'll let you know. But if I do, I'll let you know. Or we'll do it together. Okay, so we can do the service inquiries. So now you get the idea. Okay, so I'm going to do the service
I am sorry. I'm sorry. I want to ask something. I think so. The same question. When I want to create the columns names, like a sales inquiries or service or general, when I want to write the table name, it doesn't work. I don't know why.
Okay.
It told me. Okay.
Let's do it together. Let me do service inquiry. Okay, so I'm going to do the concept's going to be exactly the same. Okay, so equals sum. That's the easy part for me. Because this, no matter what, any functional formula has, actually any built-in function has to have the round bracket. It has to. Now I need to tell, so what is it you want me to sum? So then I'm going to say, I actually have to write in the name, so I'm going to type in C-A, and as soon as I type in C-A, and I'm going to zoom in a bit here. C-A, I'm going to go back here. So. And you notice at the very, very top, there it is. So I can if I want to be safe, I can double click on it. Okay, so name of the building, square brackets to give you the room name. And then service inquiries. Double click. And I manually must close off the other side of the service inquiries, otherwise Excel is confused. So square braces. Now I can either type in the right bracket parentheses, or I can just, let's be safe. So there you go. One thing I want to point out to you, and this is going to come back and mean a lot to us later on. You notice with the function, let me get rid of this here for you. You notice right now below your, oh, so sorry, it's making me feel seasick. You notice right now you've got the tooltip. You've got what the function is, step, whatever your ranges of data is, got number 1, number 2, number 3. Okay. But you notice until I actually type in the parentheses of the bracket, this, you notice how it says number 1. If we had other stuff, it would go to number 2, number 3, or whatever it is. Okay, so then I'm going to go to a right bracket. As soon as I do that, the tooltip has disappeared, so I'm pretty darn certain that I have got this formula correct, function, the syntax correct. I will know in a minute. If I've still made a mistake, it will stay in edit mode, but I'm pretty sure I'm safe. Okay, so how did that work okay for you?
It's work right now. Thank you so much. I miss something. Thank you. I got it.
Okay, so then I'm just going to do the other two. As I said, I'm going to zoom out. Yes.
Is there any difference between this formula that we created and if we another way, if we just click on the column that we want?
You're doing it externally. Okay, if you're doing the total row, you think about it, you are inside the room and you're doing the calculations and everything's set up first. Or you're in the house, you're going to go and calculate the living room. Now, if I step outside of my house, I've left my house, all right, and I want to do this, I want to be able to calculate that column. I have to, first of all, identify the table name, and then I have to identify the column that I want to work with. And before anybody asks, there's a different set of rules for when you're dealing with the rows.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, but no.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, that's why. So yes, you can, but you have to identify table name and whatever column you want to use, which ties back to the importance of giving a table or anything like that a name. So I'm just going to breeze through the other 2 or 3 here. Okay, equals sum. And C. Well, I'm going to say A. That way I got it here, double click. I'm kind of mixed about how I feel about using the range, double clicking on this.
I would just want to thank you, Debbie. That was a beautiful explanation. And thank you, Bernard. That was an excellent question. Because that's exactly what I started thinking. Like, the living room, the formula was different. The total 49,064. It was different because you are within the chart. And it's like within the living room. And then outside of the living room or outside of the house, then you gotta say, okay, this house is
this room.
Column, this house and this column total. So I get it now. Thank you so much.
No problem. So I'm just going to be really lazy.
Yeah, I used to use Excel before when I was back home, but I have never used this long uh, formula. We just clicked and selected
Oh,
the
yeah.
columns. Yeah. That's
So I'm
it.
going to zoom out a bit because I'm getting a bit seasick. I'm sure I'm making you guys seasick, but I will jump in and out of it when I can. I'm going to leave it here. I feel sorry for you guys when you go and look at the video and review. It's like, oh my God. Okay, so let me do the other two complaints months. You get the idea. Equals sum, parentheses or fancy name for brackets. What's the name of it? C-A-L-L. I'm going to be lazy. Double click on this puppy here. Square brackets, that's the name of the house. What's the room I'm going to? Complaints. What happens if I type in C? Oh, look at that. It's even easier. I must manually close off my square brackets. And I think it's safe for me to press the Enter key. Last but not least, this time I'm going to just go equals sum, fast as a bunny. Almost did the wrong thing. It'll be the first time. C-A-L-L, call volume, square bracket. What room is it? It's going to be the month, M-O-N-T-H, square brackets. You can actually type it all out if you wanted to. And I can close it off. But again, pay attention to the fact that right now your tooltip is here, and this is for all formulas or all functions. Okay. Especially with things like the ifs and the more complex, even the VLOOKUP, very important. Soon as you do that right parenthesis or right bracket, it disappears. Technically, that's a correct formula or function. All right. What did I do wrong? Okay. I made a mistake. Oh dear.
I think there's no mistake, but this
Yeah.
is a month. That's why it gives you this.
Actually, if
I think it's calculate the column. We don't need the calculate column, right?
well, what if we wanted to? Okay, instead of and I'm actually kind of stepping away from what they're doing. I think I'm getting ahead of myself here. Clearly, that's not correct. So what if I wanted to use the count function?
I know what it did. It took all those 16s and it added them all up to 80. So you know how all the dates are June 16, July 16, August 16. It took all the 16s and it added up to 80. I think that's what it did.
Yeah. Also, if you notice right now, it's correct, but the format is not correct. So I have to go back up here too. So I'm kind of stepping away. So it's 11. There should be 11 in this list. 5 through 15. Yep. So it counts. So that's sort of outside of the book, and I apologize. I tend to get ahead of myself. All right. So we've got the full call volume and complaints. So then it says select the cell range B20 to B23 already. So B20 to B23. Why am I doing this? Status bar.
One more up, please.
Oh, you want to zoom in? I'm going to have to zoom in for this one. And it's going to be all over the map. Okay. So I've highlighted these three guys here. I'm going to scroll down to my status bar, bottom right-hand corner. And when you're looking at your status bar, depends on what you did last, whatever function you did last. So, oh gosh, seasick yet? Okay, check that out.
But we cannot see the table.
Nope. If I've got it in Zoom, no, you're going to see. So this is what my status bar looks. It tells me the average of those cells. It gives me the count of those cells, and it gives me the sum of those cells. You can add more to that if you want to in file options. Okay, in the sort of the back stage.
What means is that you scrolled all the way down, like we don't see your table anymore.
Okay, let me get out of Zoom so you can actually see me doing this. All right, sorry guys. So right now, because that's the downside of Zoom, you can see this or that, but you can't see both. What the heck is that? So if you, and there's no way I can do it, you have to look at yours. So I've got 18, 19, 20. Okay. And so this is a quick and dirty way of doing, just confirming your calculations or just seeing what you have. This in the status bar. Okay. And you can add more functions here if you want to. Okay, I'll get out of here for a second. Yes.
So the sum there doesn't match the grand total.
Oh, no. The sum for these three cells are, whatever we have here, 63,000.
But if you highlight the 4 cells, so from B19 to B22, right?
Yep.
Shouldn't it be the same?
I don't know. Let's find out. 112. Yeah. So don't forget, it's only, the grand total is like everything.
Yeah, but isn't that everything though? Like we have 4 columns, right? Sales, service, general, and complaints.
Okay, so hang on a second. No, that's correct. Okay, so
So I think so. You should add one more column. Yeah, because of we have that one. Also, we are using the same thing.
Yep.
You need to add one more column.
So I've got sales, service, general, and complaints. Yep.
You know what? It's not going to total because look at the last, look at row 15, November 16th. In November, the total calls were 5,617. And then that's, you would think that the rest of the rows beside it, not the rows, like the columns beside it, breaks that down. And so that you get a total of 5,617, but you don't. See, the bottom, the lowest one is easiest to see that it doesn't add up. See, 5,617, take away 5,000 for service inquiries, leaves you 617. But then the other two columns just have 14 and 7. So there's like almost 600 calls unaccounted for.
Yep. Yep.
So Deborah, this one comment. So if you add up all the sales inquiries, service inquiries, general inquiries, and complaints, that is the total, correct?
I'll find out.
Yeah, the Excel here calculated months in grand total somehow.
Yep, because it calculated, yes, it calculated everything. It's that stupid 4-year-old. So that's
sorry, it took the months as numbers.
Yep.
So it added them up. That's why we have over 500 in the grand total.
Yep.
That's why there's a difference between that if you discount it.
Yep. Let me switch it from dates to numbers and let's see what happens there. So I've selected my months. Don't forget do you remember how last week we talked about how Excel deals with dates versus the way we do? So that's why we see them as dates. Excel sees them as values. Let's just say. Now, if I was to do my grand total again, this is going to be the piece here. So there you go. So Excel did exactly, who started this conversation off? Because that was a great call. And you guys played right on top of it. So yeah, it did exactly what it's supposed to. Now, you see these two numbers here. So now I'm going to go back and make these into dates. I'm just going to do whatever date we have available for you. Don't forget double click between your A and B to be able to see everything. Okay. So that's how come Excel sees this as, it says, you want the grand total? I'm going to give you the grand total, the entire thing. I don't care. Ignorance and apathy. I don't know and I don't care. You want a number, you're going to get it. Okay.
Oh, I just have to correct myself. I was wrong. So the first, after months, sales inquiries is not all calls. There's no all calls. There's no like all calls column. The Tugba was right. We need another column that says all calls, and then and then I think that'll answer Mohammed's question.
Well, yes, no, because don't forget, right now I've done the same as here. The only difference was I convert, and we're going to be getting to all calls very shortly. We're going to be adding a column. We haven't done it yet. Perfect. That's on the next page. We're going to be doing some calculations with the rows, but the way Excel looked at this was not the way human beings looked at it. So this is a number here, okay? It's not a date. I don't recognize dates, so if I calculate all these numbers in here, this is the number, this is what I'm going to get, okay? So that's why even if you go grand total, it's selected everything. And if you look at the months the way Excel does, that's why you come up with that calculation. Rest on that thought for a little bit, okay? Because it's, yeah, bang on.
Yeah, and you know what? Your grand total is starting A17. However, book is starting for grand total A19. You should add 2 cells. I think so.
Yes, because I think there was a
Okay.
typo there. So what? How can I
Sure.
do this?
Okay.
How can I do this? How about, first of all, I'm going to pop my total back on. That's going to make a difference here. Okay. I'll move you guys around a bit. Okay, so. Okay, so here, bear with me a second. I'm in here, table design. Let me, first of all, pop on my total row. And then let me insert a blank row here. And now I'm at 19.
There you are.
I am. Look at that. How about that? There's hope for me yet. Sometimes some of the solutions are so stupidly simple, and sometimes they're not. If you guys are the first group who's actually gone into a deep dive like this, I'm so happy. You've made my day so happy. So the sum, yep, B20, yeah, and it should, and this is to calculate, to go back to where we were before. So which cells was it? I have to do one? Is it cells? Make sure I do the right range. B 20 to 24. 20 to 24. Oh, they do want them. No. Okay. So the reason now you understand why the month is okay. Exactly what we told it to do. Okay. And it did the calculation, but it's still the strangest thing to do. Still. And I don't have the foggiest idea that's the right number. I really don't. But and that's okay. Because if we were just because we are here, okay, and I don't want to leave something half undone. I'm just gonna pop this over here for a second.
Debbie, according to, like, I punch in all the total, the bold total, row number 16, and I'm getting 112,904. How come that doesn't match the grand total?
The grand total. Again, my knickers are not here. The grand total incorporated contents of every cell in this range table here.
Oh, okay, including the month?
Including the month. And if you remember from last week, the way that I'm only going to do one or two of these just so we can actually see the difference. The way Excel sees a date is as a number. Okay, so it says, if it was doing the calculation, it says, even though we see the date, Excel sees a value or a number. So that's why it's that crazy number.
But I feel like your grand total is lower than what it should be. I think it should be 112,000, and you only have 60 something. Sorry, 50,000.
The grand total is 580,000, not 58,000.
Yeah, sorry, 580,000. Mohammed, are you expecting the grand total to be 112,000 as well?
No, I have the same answer she does now.
Yeah.
You do? Oh. Okay, so I'm still stuck.
It's because if you have to remember, if you're using just the totals here, it's just the columns, and that.
Oh, right, because Mohammed, you're adding those month values. But, okay, so that brings me to my next question, Debbie. Wouldn't that be like wrong?
Yes, it is wrong. Would I do it? Never, but I know what they're trying to show us.
Okay, I understand now. Thank you.
Yes. So yes and no. Okay. So let me just go back here to format these guys. It's kind of neat if you think about it.
But like grand total implies to me grand total of calls throughout the year.
Yep.
Or, January to November, which is all the data that's been provided, right?
Yep.
That's what it implies to me. But then it's added like so I get that. Like you're going to teach us how to make it correct, right? And how to exclude months. Right?
Oh, yeah. For starters, I have never used grand total on a table yet. I because of exactly of this, specifically this problem, because it does exactly what you tell it to do. If I needed to find the total of all my sales inquiries, I could possibly go equals sum and select my range.
16 to E16.
Is that the number you're talking about?
Yes, there we go.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, perfect.
Okay, good stuff. All right, so we have certainly beaten this poor puppy to death. Well, not puppy, I love puppies. So the next one is income. So I'm going to save and close this. If you like, I'm happy to post this in the chat for you, if you think it would be helpful. I'll put them at the end of the day.
Yeah, please. You mean like this video?
Oh, you're going to get the video. It gets shared with you afterwards. It takes forever.
Okay.
Those things take forever. But I'm happy to share, I'm happy to put this into my Google Drive so you can have a look at it, and I'll leave all my little stuff on it, so it won't look picture perfect like the book, but at least you'll have all the little calculations that we played around with. Okay, so I'm happy to do that. So I'm going to do save and file, and I have to remember to go to share. Okay, so I go to share, new share. I have all the files open. So the one I need is income statement modify. Now you know why I have all these files open in anticipation of today. Okay, so the file we have to have open is called income statement modify range. And you know that this is going to be one that you keep, or because quite often they'll ask you to discard files, the file names. And you know that by looking at the first instruction, do they say save as or not? So let me share, bear with me. So excited. Okay, so we know how to create range names. In fact, we actually got a little bit ahead of the schedule. And so we're going to use the name manager, and you're going to develop, as we progress through this part, you're going to develop a certain style, if you will. And if I detour too much off schedule, please let me know. So I've got income statement modify range open. I've saved it, saved my name, file, save as. I'm just going to put my initials on at the end. All right. So that is I'm working from page 44. Instruction 1 is open and save as. And it says a common situation is adding more rows to a name range. Basically, how can you fix that? By working with a table. That's how we could have fixed that one. But be that as it may. So I've got this open. So we've got, it says for the header for row 18 to highlight the entire row. Okay, row 18. That doesn't make much sense, but okay. Okay. And right click this row and insert. So what's going to happen is we're going to make, let me do it and talk about it. So I go right mouse click, and insert. That is exactly the same as going to home tab, cells group, format, and then insert from there. You can do the same thing. Okay. So now we've got this blank row here. And they're going to ask us to enter some information in travel and then press the tab key and put a value in. So where it's leading us is, now what do we do if we've got a range that we've got extra cells, and that's where they're going with this. So it's going to be travel and 1400. E1400. So far, so good. Not a problem. Okay. So that's step number 4. And you noticed, let's see here. I'm going to undo this once. So notice you got 3115. So I'm going to go forward, insert, and enter. So you notice that the formula did not change. That is something we all make this mistake on a not regular basis, but it's something we all do every now and then. So what you're going to do? Well, I'm going to fix this. So I've got that done. So in the formula bar, formula tab, define name group, name manager, and let's go in and see what's going on there. So one of my favorite places to be, formula tab, define names, name manager. This is going to be a bit of a mess here. So you notice we've got expenses, revenues. Let me get the thing out of the way. I'm going to actually, too bad I can't manually do it. Okay, I'll play it. So I'm going to leave this as is. I won't go up to the 200. So you can see each range name. What is inside of that range? It could be one cell or more. Then it gives you the actual addresses from what sheet 1 or sheet 2 and cells C5 to C19. And then the last thing you see with the range name is the scope. Well, we've only got one worksheet anyways, but we may well want this worksheet to the range name just to be for the, just check my, nothing important, just Twitter. Twitter is talking to me. So you might see the scope change from workbook to worksheet. Okay, so that you might see. So I'm in there. So it says name manager select expenses. I'm just going to immediately double click on it and see what happens. Okay. Okay. I shouldn't have done that. Get a little too cocky for my own good here. So yeah, expenses. So it says the range is. So that's one way of doing it. Now I'm going to actually follow the instructions for once. Okay. Expense row to select it. And so it says text field. Okay, sheet 1. This part kind of confuses me. Okay, but I'll try. Select it. Refers to text field. Change range. Oh, okay. Refers to if. Okay, here we go. Normally you would see me go up to edit mode, but they're saying the range is right now C10 to C17. So C10 to C19. So no matter what. So how can you fix it? Refers to, there's nothing here yet. Backspace and what number is it going to be? 18. Okay. As soon as I do that, I can click on the checkbox. I'm going to go 17 back. I'm going to go back to 17 one more, and I'm going to show you the way I do it. Okay, you can select. Oh no. Okay. I've got to say. No, I'm not letting me fix it. Normally, I go into edit mode, or I double click on. I select the range I want and go to edit mode. It's exactly the same thing. It's just a different way of doing it. It's also how you learn. It's how you learn to do things. Now that there's a change been made, let's say okay, check. Nothing happening yet. There you go. As soon as you close it, there it is. Okay. I'm going to undo this. I'm just going to show you my way, just because. So back to the original, we see the problem. Formulas tab, define names, name manager. So expenses, this is mine. It says select and go to edit. Exactly the same. It gives you more options. And okay, and there we go. And there we go. That's the same. End result is exactly the same. It's just how you go about that. Okay. Update is a check mark, and then close. And close, you do it. That's good. Oh, Lordy. Okay, so now they're going to ask us to delete a named range and see how it affects the workshop workbook. But before we do that, let's go and see what's going on in here. Okay, so you notice in the formula, okay, let's go down to my net income. When they put this together, this is how they went about it. They went to equals, the content, total revenue. My mathematical skills are not my greatest, minus my total expenses. Okay, so far so good. Okay. If we go and we're gonna delete one of those two ranges. When we do, we're probably gonna get an error, and let's go make a bit of sense. So go here just for now. So name manager. So sorry, formulas tab. Define names, name manager. And which one do they want us to remove? Revenues. So they're going to say, select the revenues group here and go to delete. So are you sure? Absolutely. And then close. When you see this particular error, pound symbol name, it says there is something in there. It could be a range name. There's any number of things, or a cell's not there. So maybe it says A5 to G15. If one of those cells is not there, you will get that error. It says something in here is not correct. It's go and look at the names. Okay, so it could be the range names like this, or it could be cell references too. Okay, and quick access toolbar, undo, or if you are a keyboard user like me, Control Z. Okay, so undo back up here, and Control Z if you like to use the keyboard. Okay, Control S for a quick save. Okay. Oh, Lordy. The next part we're going to do is with the standard deviation function.
Deborah, I have a question. The item 9, I did that one, and also my C7 and C21st should be deleted, but yours is not. Yeah, okay, I got it.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay.
And then I just did the undo to step back, and so the delete was reversed.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, good stuff. All right, this is where you get to see me shaking my boots. There's one function I don't like, and we're going to come up to it. But before we get there, a lot of good information in this book right now regarding functions. Please do me a favor and read it. And I've actually already started talking to you guys about it when we were doing the table, when I said about each section of the function of the form, or the form function rather. Okay. Okay, so the equal symbol tells Excel that you're either going to be creating a formula or a function. It doesn't know what it's going to be until the next part of the process. If you type in word sum, it says, I know that's a function. I know what to do. Don't worry about it. So it's equals because it's a formula or a function, the function name. And then what the arguments are, it's each step through the process. So if you think about somebody's teaching you how to go look for things, so go to the kitchen, find the flour. Now go to the living room and open the curtain. So the arguments are each part or component of a function. Now you may have one, you may have many. Okay. And they say identifies any variable portions of the argument or required parts of the formula. The arguments are separated by a comma. So if you type in your functional formula, when you finish the one argument or the one section or one portion, comma will take you up to the next step. Okay. And then you finish that part, we complete that part, comma will get you to the next step. The VLOOKUP, which I'm hoping that we can jump, I'm going to sort of cheat a little bit today. I'm going to leave you guys with a bit of homework to do because I want to spend my time on, I don't want to not do the VLOOKUP, and I don't want to not do the VLOOKUP and give it lots of time. It's very important to me that we spend the time that we need to. Hopefully, if not today, then tomorrow. So with that being said, knowing how I feel about the next function, so I'm flipping forward to page 47. If your page numbering is different from mine, just to let you know, I'm using the actual real life book, okay? And so I've discovered with my MOS class, sometimes the numbering's not quite correct. Okay. And so insert function, type it in, blah, blah, blah. And everything I said to you about how a function is put together, about the bolded text and that, you will find that on the bottom of page 47. So I've already gone through that part with you. Typical me. All right. Okay. Then it goes, gives you more information, more information, more information, more information. So the bottom of page 48, finally. Okay, so page 48, it asks me to create a new blank workbook. Cheating me has already created it, okay? And so with my newfound knowledge, I'm going to go to New Share. And where are you? I did do it. Ooh. There it is. Functions. Okay, there it is. I'm going to go to Share. So what I did ahead of time is I opened up a blank document. I believe we save it as function-student or function-your name. And then I entered, and I'm going to zoom in. I know because I can barely see it, so I'm going to have to zoom in a bit more so you guys can see it too. And we see the embarrassment of a typo. No, it's not. It is. The deviation.
Oh, excuse me. What is the book names, the folder names?
It's a blank document. So you go Control+N for new, and then if you're reading the book, it's going to be the top of page 49 for step number 2. If you're watching me, you can just copy the numbers into your worksheet. I'll give you a minute or so to do that. Okay. And I have a mystery question of the day. This one I've been using for years and years. I'll wait till every bit before the end of the day and I will give it to you. New message. It's a blank document. In cell A1, you type in the word sum. Cell 2, you type in the word standard deviation. And in column C, you enter a bunch of numbers. C1 is 45. C2 is 24. C3 is 57. C4 is 49. And C5 is 36. All right. Before I move ahead, is everybody okay with that?
Yeah. Yes, I copied all numbers already.
Okay. I'm going to now pop onto the screen, and I'm going to, hopefully I can do it in the chat too. Your mystery question of the day. This is optional. If you want to do it, it's a lot of fun. You don't necessarily get marked for it, but you learn stuff. You learn stuff that's not in the book. Okay. I actually normally have 2 for this one. How many, I'm going to write this, I'll use the expression built in there in Excel. And it could be 2016, 2019, 365. Now let me take this, go Control-C, go back to my chat, okay, and I'm going to post it here. Okay. I can guarantee you right now, I can guarantee you right now that I was doing so good. Okay, press escape. Does anybody know why that marquee was there, those dashes? Does anybody know why, when I was called, why that appeared?
Because you've not pasted it, you copied it.
Yes. And the other one, and the other response too. The baby's response is good too. Okay, yes, you're in it. Basically, I've selected it, but I haven't done anything with it. So I can either press enter or escape. Okay, so I'm telling you now that not everybody will get this. Not everybody's going to get the same answer depending on where you go searching for it. Okay. I think I got about 5 or 6. How many students do I have? 14 students. Anyways, there was 14 different answers this morning. Okay. So I've done that. So now I'm going to select cell B1. Don't worry about the fact that you've got standard deviation is hanging over the edge. Don't worry about it, because as soon as we type in a formula or a function, and when we get to B2, you'll see what happens. So in B1, okay. Okay, here we go. So insert function. And we'll move this. Let's minimize this for now. And I'm going to zoom in for a second here. Sorry, guys. I just want you to see the parts of it. So what you've got is, if you don't know what it is you want to do, you'll type it in here. 90% of the time, we're going to be spending our time in the most recently used, because as we cycle through them, so if we do the PMT, it'll be here. It's just a bunch of functions we most recently, exactly what it is. Or, I'll make sure I'm doing the right thing. Okay. In the or select a category, I never do this, so I'm going to go to there. And from this group, I'm going to select which one. Okay. Well, why didn't they tell me to say in the most recently used? So some should likely be in here. Ironically, oh, there it is. So I'm going to select the sum function, and I'm going to select the OK. And so at this point, I'm going to hopefully get down to, just turn this off. Oh, I've got myself in Zoom mode. Oh dear, this is not good. Where did I put my Zoom? I've hidden my Zoom, that's not good. That's the other downside of the Zoom, because so once you get into the magnifier, you're kind of locked into it. So make sure my plug is on. The amount of time it takes me to do this insert function, I could have done like 50 some. So insert function, now we know what to look for. Most recently used, sum, and then we see the OK. This is why I do like the insert function. It steps us through, it does the heavy lifting for us. And what you're going to look for as we progress through the functions, I'm sure everybody's had some exposure to this, but it just kind of goes back into why things are the way they are. And it gives you the definition. It gives you what you can put in here. All right, and you've got number 1, argument 1, number 2, argument 2. But for this one, we're just going to select a range, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I would. Okay. It's actually, the book asks you to do this collapse business. You'll notice I never do it, but I'm going to do it now just because then I'm going to do it again without it. So if I forget to do it, you'll see normally I will just select my range, go to the box I need to, select my range, and then continue on. But they want us to use the collapse button, so this little box will disappear and I'll get all freaked out. Then I'm going to select my range. This is why it's too much work for me. Now I'm going to go expand button again. And when you look at yours, you'll see whatever is the contents of those cells, you'll see it over here on the right-hand side. It gives you your total. It gives you your formula result. Formula result tells you what everything is. If at any point you see either a blank area here or you see red, go back and see what you go back and look over into that argument. Okay, there's something that's not quite right. So let's see if I can do this for you. I'm going to try and make an error. As soon as I tried to type in I typed in the letter A, Excel says I don't know what to do with it. So that's why you didn't see anything there. You don't need to know what the numbers are. You just need to know that you're not seeing red and you're not seeing blank. Okay. That's an awful lot of work.
Debbie, are you going to show us how to do this with like another function other than sum? Oh, and what does number 2 do? Sorry.
Yeah.
There's so many questions.
Yeah, I hate this exercise. I'll be honest with you. It's the stupidest exercise ever, but it's here, so we're doing it.
Yeah, because we can calculate the just as very easily the equal sum and
yeah,
the
amount of time it takes
C1 to C5. Yeah, easy. What we are using that one, right?
Because you gotta learn how to. You gotta walk before you run. You gotta learn how to bicycle. You gotta learn how to bicycle. So they're just saying, you've never seen Excel in your life. Why are you using the Excel expert book? Don't understand that. So really, but a lot of it is review. So they're assuming because you're going there because it's for testing. So that's why they do the review. Why would I use the sum function? I've got 5 cells here. Even my mathematical skills can do that. But what if I've got 5,000? Then I'm definitely going to need some kind of calculation. The sum function is one of those you should be able to pull out of your head in a heartbeat. You should just be able to do. A bunch of them you should be able to do.
No, I don't mean like why did you use the sum function? And because I want to know what like the PMT, does PMT stand for payment? Like what does that one do?
Oh, you're going to learn about that. Don't worry about it.
Okay. I knew I was jumping ahead.
Here's the problem, and I want to get your feedback from it. What I used to do, and this was a long time ago, what I used to do is I used to cherry pick a lot of the most important factors and features of the book. I didn't do everything because people are adults and they've got some experience with Excel. What Sophia said she did before, and the person before her did, was they just went through the book, demonstrated, blah, blah, blah. I'm happy to do that, but that's not my comfort zone. I like to go a little further into stuff than just throw it at you. So you might find me cherry picking things that I'm going to say, you guys can do the match. You can do the index and the match. It's in the book, follow the instructions. It's not that important. I do have 2 videos for you, and I do have actually a bunch of exercises for the VLOOKUP. Because the VLOOKUP is one of the key factors. When you go for an interview that you say you know Excel, do you know how to do the VLOOKUP? Yes, I do. Okay, and then everybody says yes. By the time I'm finished with you guys, you are going to be able to learn the VLOOKUP and know that you know it, not just kind of sort of know it. Okay, so if it's okay with you, I might cherry pick some of the features in the book because 30 hours doesn't do it. So you guys mull on that for today. Think on it. But that one has to be a consensus because I can't do both. But I'll do my darndest. All right, so standard deviation is the stupidest exercise in the book, but we're going to do it anyway. So now I'm going to click on B2 because it's a formula, a function, or a value. Don't worry about widening your column. See, they make it sound so difficult. Okay, B2, insert function. Okay, have I complained about this yet? Okay, and I know it's going to be here somewhere. And I'm going to, so this is one time unless you use this on a regular basis, you notice how you got the gray background here. I'm just going to type right over it. If you want to backspace it, but don't do both. Because right now you're in edit mode, so I'm going to type in ST, don't even know what it is. A, N, I'm going to say go. Oh, so it's ST and then go. So somewhere in this list is going to be standard deviation. Okay. No, or not. It's TD. Now you know why I don't like this exercise. D E V dot S. I'm telling you, if I got that far, why couldn't I have just gone and typed it out? Okay, fine. Now from this point on, standard deviation will be in my short list here. Okay. And C1 to C5. If it's okay with you guys, I'm not going to bother with this stupid collapse business. It's not stupid, don't get me wrong. I'm just going to select the range, which is
Yeah,
C.
I agree with that. I find the collapse thing annoying.
So I'm just going to say okay. So, okay, but normally if I was teaching this class, I'd say to you guys, give me the idiot's guide to what does the standard deviation mean. And so that quite often I have people give me this beautiful, eloquent, beautiful explanations. The idiot's guide to what does that mean for people that don't know what a standard deviation means. So that's normally what I do there. Okay, but that's okay. You read the book? All right, so we should have it. And I'm flipping the page. And how are we doing for time? We're doing good. Save and close. I am going to, if it's okay with you guys, because it's really important about time. I want to be able to dedicate as much time as I can to the VLOOKUP function. I have provided for you, and if you, okay, so these two copies here. Make sure, please somebody remind me to make sure I share these with you. This is my favorite person. I know you can't see it, but I'm going to go back to my Excel here. There we go. If it's okay with you, I'm going to ask you to do the choose function by yourself, as well as the index function. Okay. I am on the match too. These guys are never used as one. So just go a minute. Okay. Normally you would do choose a match or match and what's the other one? Yeah. Match and index. That's the other one. So these are never, yeah. Index and match normally go together. I would like to be able to, and you tell me how this feels at the end of the class. I'd like to be able to spend a little bit of time and work on the VLOOKUP. So I'm going to share some files with you in the chat. All right, where did I put them here? Where's my... Okay. Ah, it's funny because you're asking about the PMT. I have it right there. So I'm going to share a couple of files with you right now. Okay. Starbucks. Do I have Starbucks here or not? Okay. I'm going to share two files with you. One of them is, where's my chat? Okay. One of them is going to be a Word document. And one of them is going to be an Excel document. And my goal is to go through everything right now. So this one and this one. And I'm going to file your computer. And I will go HBC. And I could have put it in any better place, could I? So I'm going to select both these guys. And I guess I can only do it one time. Open. And because I haven't opened it up yet, we'll do the same thing again. The file, your computer, did it remember? Yes, it did. So the first one was the Word. Okay. And the second one is going to be the Excel. Okay. Okay, so then I'm going to open them up and then share. I'm going to share them out with some. The word one is just simply for you guys, and it gives you a it's going to be giving you the same definition that I'm going to be giving you of how to work with the VLOOKUP, what it does. Okay, and then file that I want to have VLOOKUP explained in simple terms is the Excel file here. At this point, that's all I need to have open. Okay, and visualize, if you will, a time before this pandemic when you would walk into a Starbucks or a Tim Hortons or a McDonald's, okay, and you'd say you want a certain kind of coffee or tea or whatever mocha thingies that they provide there. Oh shoot, I should delete these guys. You can't do this. All right, so and if you want to work beside me, just give me 2 minutes to go through my explanation, then we're going to do this together if it's okay. So you go in there, you're looking, I would like to have the cafe mocha, and I think I want to have grande size. And I'm going to zoom in a bit. So bear with me a second here while I zoom in. And so I look up above the server or whatever they call themselves there. And I say, I'd like to find cafe mocha. So I go to the first column and I go from the top to the bottom. Very important to remember that. And then I go to cafe mocha and I say, I want to have it grande size. So go 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns. And my eyes actually go there and I say, that's how much it is. So each time we go in and we pick something from another example might be we're ordering some food, so it could be menu, it could be anything. So that's what a human being does with the VLOOKUP. So I'm going to go through the process and I'm going to come back and do it again with you guys. So now, how do we find the VLOOKUP? This is, if nothing more, this is key, so important. It can be the difference between getting a job and not getting a job. And I will give you those formulas I know that you need for your interviews. I will make sure I try and give those to you. So how do we do that? The VLOOKUP is our friend. And what it does is just go to the first column, find whatever it is I'm looking for. Then I tell Excel, I want you to go 1, 2, 3, or 4 columns. And I've decided on the 3. And I'm sorry about the chat, but if it's important chat or something, please do speak up. Okay. So I've gone there and I've said cafe mocha, that's it. And in my mind, I can return the result. Wow, that's very old thing. Look how cheap it is. Okay, so that's what VLOOKUP does. Insert functions. Let me go through the process here. This, and then assuming you don't have it, you only ever have to type it in once. VLOO, go. VLOOKUP. And I'm going to put my little magnifier on shortly. So what is it I'm looking for? I am looking for whatever's in here, whatever's in cell. I can type it in, okay, or I can use a cell reference. If I type it in, I have to put the quotation marks. I have to make sure my spelling is correct. But for this purpose, for now, I'm going to say whatever's in here. This is what I want. Okay. And I think I am going to do my Zoom thing here. Okay. So I said I'm looking for whatever's in here, and I've selected the cafe mochas, contents of the cafe mocha cell. Okay. My table array, I'm going to select that in a minute, and then we're going to do the column index. Okay, so where's that? So I'm just going to go back down to the minimum there, just so you can see where I'm going. So the lookup is whatever's in A14. My table array is going to be where everything is located. It's always a good idea to either A, give it a name, like a range name, or B, make sure that you, oh shoot, let's look at the
You need to write formula in B14, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was there, and then I clicked on something, and I was in Zoom, I was in the magnifier, everything went bad. So insert function, okay. VLOOKUPs on the top, okay. And what am I looking for? The contents of A14. Check. My table array is going to be this range here. Do I need to have the headings? No. Would I mark you wrong if you applied the headings? No. Do I apply them? No. It's just, the way I explain this is headings are for humans, so we need to know which each column is. Excel doesn't need to. Okay, so I'm going to say this is my table array. If I'm copying this down, so let's say, you notice I've actually, so I'm looking for whatever's in here, check. Table array. This is my table array. That's my biggest mistake is what I just did. Okay. And you notice I've actually already it's already been given a name, Starbucks table or SB table. That's probably the best way of doing it. If you're doing a lot of VLOOKUP, combining the table we just did in the beginning of the class with this, best. Okay. How many columns am I going to be going across? Always include the one from the left. So 1, A, B, C. So I want something on the grande side. So it's 1, 2, 3. Make sure I'm in the right location here. 3 columns across. Now the next part is the part that people have the most difficulty with. There's 2 ways of Excel working. And I either want to have an exact and precise response or something else. And I'm not telling you what the something else is yet because we're just going to do one part for now. So I'd like the range lookup to be true or false. The way I remember it is exact or approximate. Okay. Thank goodness for me, the range lookup, it tells me, is it going to be. I only want to find one cafe mocha in there. So I'm going to say false. There is more to it than that. So what Excel is going to do is going to say, I'm going to look down this list until I come across exactly the same as whatever's in here. Exactly. If it's not there, you're going to see a mistake, or you're going to see an error. You're going to see an error message, I should say. So 90% of what we do is going to be done using the exact or the false. Okay. So it's false. And then I'm going to say, okay. So what Excel did, it says, okay, I'm going to look in here. This is what you tell me what you want. Check. Then I'm going to go to the table and go to the first column. It always goes to the first column. That's why the index and match are very good together. Okay. And also there's something called XLOOKUP. Hopefully, time permitting, we'll have a quick look at that. That's one of the new functions that came out this year, 365. But VLOOKUP is what it is. This is what it's got. If you are still running your, I know one of you said that you're still using Google Sheets. The VLOOKUP is in there too. Okay. So I'm looking for this in a table. When I get to it, I'm going to go from top to bottom. Okay, good. I see it. How many columns do you want me to go across? 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I'm going to do, and the reason this is good is I could actually copy this one down. So let's do this one together. Okay. So the importance of spelling, which is not lost on me, the importance of spelling is important. So let's say because I wasn't paying attention, threw an extra S in here. NA, not available. Okay, so that's one of the error messages you might see. No, that is the error message you will see. Okay, so let's do this together. So if you have had the opportunity to open up the workbook and you have had the opportunity to we're going to delete these 2 guys because we're starting fresh. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through it. So I'm going to put my insertion point in B14. The Word document I've shared with you is his explanation and his definition, and his name is John Akampora. He is one of my favorite YouTubers and does great work. I follow him on LinkedIn. He does a lot of free webinars. And so I encourage everybody to go and find his website. So I'm in B14. Okay, so if the message is important or I'm going too fast or something, please let me know. He knows, must be lying. So I'm in B14. I need to find out the price of the cafe mocha if the size is brandy. So insert function. And if the lookup is not in your list, maybe, may not be, I don't know, then you only ever have to type it in once. So I'm going to assume it's not there. So VLO. I don't need to type out the whole thing. Go. Look up. And I'm going to say, okay. I'm also going to show you how to do it with the manually too. Okay. Let it do the heavy lifting. Let Excel walk you through it. And we'll just take it step by step. Also, don't forget, bold, 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 not bold. Technically, we don't need the last guy, but we do. So what am I looking for? I can either type in Cafe Mocha or I can use a cell reference. So I'm going to click on, and you guys are going to do the same thing if you feel so inclined. If not, don't. So I'm going to say whatever's in there. Now, what I see here is these quotation marks, Cafe Mocha, check. We're good. Where am I going to go look for it in my table array? My table array is, for me, is going to be from A2 to D something, D10. All right. A2 to D10. Did I do it right? Yes. Okay. So that's A2 to D10. How many columns do I want to, how many columns do I need to go to find what it is I'm looking for? So I've been told that it's the Grandee column, or I'm looking for a Grandee size. So make sure I'm in the right, my biggest mistake is always forgetting to be in the right location. Column number 1 for A, 2 for B, and 3 for C. If we're doing venti, it would be 4. If we wanted something size tall, it would be 2, but always from the very left. 1, 2, 3. All right? Great. Because I want an exact, precise response, I want to have only Cafe Mocha. That's it. I don't want anything else, only Cafe Mocha. So I'm going to put false in here. There is a reason that we have the true false, and it goes back way, way, way back, even before Lotus 1, 2, 3. When in spreadsheets and worksheets were very new, and so when they came up with this particular formula, actually it's the lookup formula function, they didn't even have the notion of exact or approximate. So that's why true has always been there, and so that's why useless trivia, you don't need to remember it, but that's the why. Why is it false? Because somebody somewhere many years back made it true and false. So I want the exact. I see no red here. I see nothing. I see no blank rows, no blank cells. And I see a response here, and I see the formula response here. So pretty much everything is good. I'm going to say, okay.
Deborah, I have a question because the argument window, I can't find it. I just need to put all on the title bar. So are you copying?
So what you're saying is, what if you don't have the contents in cell A14? Is that what you're saying? Or?
No, I just have a question related to the Excel window, because I tried to make the formula on the argue window.
Mm-hmm.
The argument window is not open. I don't know why.
I'd have to be looking at your screen to be able to see if I can understand it. If you want to share your screen, I set it up that people can multiple people can share if you'd like to.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
you can-
1 second.
So I'm going to say stop. I'm going to say stop sharing for now. All right, and yeah, I am incredibly envious. Imagine that. But yeah, beautiful place to go. Yes, Kate, and no, Kate. If you do the HLOOKUP, I'll go through that. But majority of people, I'll explain why we do the VLOOKUP versus the HLOOKUP. It's the way people's brains work, I think. Okay, good. Beautiful.
So now if I try to make a VLOOKUP right here, now the argument window is not open. Don't know why.
Okay. Okay, yes, sir. Press escape for me. Actually, two things I'm going to ask you to do. Press the escape key once for me. Okay. You can actually type it in if you wanted to. I was going to show you that, but so if you could just press the escape key for me for a sec.
Okay.
All right. So now go back to cell B14 and press delete for me once. Oh no, you can do it there. Okay.
This one.
Oh. So then you're gonna see it. So it looks good there.
I did in F14. This is what my exercise. So I did it like here.
Okay. So
And
if
even I tried to remove the false, it gives me another answer, which is the first cell of C2.
So what you're going to do is actually go to the cell to the right of where you are. So go to G, whatever it is. We're going to start fresh. Okay, insert functions, a little insert function thingy up there, right below the word Calibri. Click on that.
Okay.
Okay, actually, if you go a little bit below, you see where you, yes. And you can go down to VLOOKUP. Perfect. Okay. Oh. I know why you're online. You've got the you have the online version. That's why it looks slightly different.
I'm open to online. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Oh, I learned something new about the web version, the free version. I gotta share this, guys, with you. I'll share the video. What I found out is apparently 90% of what we need you can actually get on the Excel free app. The web version that we have here. It looks different. So now let me show you how I would, if it's okay, I'll show you how I would, because realizing that how it works for you. I'm going to share my screen. If it's okay, I'll share my screen again.
Okay, I will go out.
Yeah, so perfect. Thank you very much.
No
and I will share that video. I just came across it a couple of nights ago. So
okay.
Share. And I'm going to go to VLOOKUP. And this is if you have most situation, or some people like to use insert function, some people like to type it in. There's going to be when I say a great divide, people are going to prefer one method versus the other. So let me go. So, okay, where are you? Okay, press delete. So if I'm typing it in equals DL, okay, pretty similar to what you had there, Mo. All right, and then double click on it. Now, what am I looking for? Whatever's in here. And so you notice, and I will try this. I don't want to go into this. I can't make these guys any bigger. I'm going to do it for a second so you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you notice you got lookup value. I've already got it done. And you notice it's bolded. So as soon as I press the comma, you'll notice the comma, Deborah.
Yeah. The comma.
Yeah, it's not working for me. There it is.
Yeah,
so then you notice how the lookup value is no longer bolded, but the table array is. So then if I know what the table array name is, I can type it in, or I can select the range.
Yeah, I did the same actions that you did already for the table array and for the number of in the index of columns. Everything was going good, but without but I did that without the window. That's the issue.
Yeah. Okay. It seems that for you, where is that silly little thing here? If you are on the web version of Excel, if I understand it correctly, then you don't have that extra window, that dialog box launcher, as far as I know.
Yeah, I have another laptop.
When you look at your web-based version, do you see the little insert function where you got the enter or cancel, enter, and the insert function? Do you have that?
Mm-hmm.
No. If you don't have it, then that kind of answers the question.
Okay.
And I think that you might not, because everything's web-based.
Okay. Yes, you are right.
No, but it doesn't mean you can't do it, because then you can just say, you just manually type everything in, and each time you get to another argument, so how many columns are first? 1, 2, 3, 3 columns. The good thing about it for you versus if you do the insert function box is it tells you, do you want an approximate or you want to?
Yeah, that's right.
And then I can just close it off, and my my function disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay. So either way, if you're doing web-based, and that also impacts on how I'm going to, what we can do, because like things like the Power Queries and stuff like that, neat stuff to know, but it depends on what you're doing, where your career, your job is going. All right, so next one I'm going to do, and then next one I'm going to post up very shortly, and I suspect it's going to take up the last little bit of the half hour. So let's get this guy finished. Doesn't matter how you do it. If you want to type it in, please do. If you want to use insert function, please do. But what we're going to do is white chocolate mocha. So I'm going to do the insert function. Then as long as you're okay with that, Mo, you know you can just select everything. Okay, so insert function. VLOOKUP. Okay, what am I looking for? Whatever's in here. But what if I typed it in? Of course, I figured out the longest one. So if I typed it in, this is what you need to know, right? Doesn't matter. It's called chocolate. Doesn't matter if it's caps or not. It does not care. You know, remember I told you in the beginning about formulas and functions? You don't want to see blank space here. Right now, Excel is undecided. What do I do with this? I have no idea what it is. So what I do is I press the tab key, or I can actually click down in the next box. For you, Mo, you're going to have to type. I'll show you how you deal with it for you. Tab. As soon as I press the tab key, what Excel did was it went in there and says, that's text. I'm going to put a quotation mark at the beginning, and I'm going to put a quotation mark at the end, and that's that. It says that's text. I know what to do with it. So now Excel understands. So if you see, even if you see a number around it, Excel treats that as a text, not a value or a date. Okay. Table array. This time, I'm going to select the table array just because Excel is snarky on occasion. All right. How many columns? 1, 2, 3. All right. Is it 3? Is it 3? Venti. Is it 3? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many columns?
4.
Thank you.
4.
All right. And false because I want it to be exact. Okay. Beautiful. You guys are awesome. You guys are so good. So good. All right. Okay. So now we've scratched the surface with the VLOOKUP. We're going to do one more today. Time dependent, because there is a lot that I want to cover. When we come in tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, we're going to launch immediately into the last little bit of the VLOOKUP, but it gives you a chance to absorb it tonight. Today we're going to do the exact or the false, and then tomorrow when we jump into class, we're going to learn the less familiar method, which is the true. So I don't want to mix them up today, so that's what we're going to do. Now, let me go to my folder, VLOOKUP. What I'm looking for is TUTS plus. Is this the one I need? Okay. I'm also going to share with you it's the presentation exactly the same as what I've just showed you, and it comes from John Acampora already. So I'm going to do that, but I'll share that with you at the end of class. That's okay. So that'll be shared with you shortly before end of day. And so I'm going to go back to my TUPS Plus. I used to have the written instructions. I'll see if I can find it for you. Oh, not quite yet. I can't do that one yet. So where's my, go back to my thingy here. Go back to chat. No, not go back to chats, case may be. I've done so well too, you know? Where the heck is my chat? Well, that's not what I wanted. Oh, of course I make an idiot. I've done so well. No mistakes until now. So I'm going to say stop for a second. Ah, that's better. Now I can step out. I'll step back into it in a second. And I'm going to go to chat and I'm going to share the file with you. Yes, Alan, we can. Please somebody remind me, and please somebody keep reminding me until you get it. So the one person I give it to, what I will do is I will put everything into my Google Drive, and everything you need will be there. But for the things that we're going to work with right now, I'm going to post in the chat, and I'll post them into the drive too. That way you can always come and get them. Okay, so bear with me 1 second. I'm going to go to my file, go to my computer, then I'll share again. TUPS Plus, and then go open. Okay, then I can go back to myself and go TUPS Plus. Another really, really good website is TUPS Plus. Okay, now I'm going to share with it. This one is a sneaky little devil, this exercise. Okay, so I'm going to go share. I'm going to go to my TUPS Plus, and I'm going to go to share. Okay. We've got at step one, always go through and look and see what we have. We've got 4 sheets. We've got the employee shift, employee title, ingredient orders. This is the one that takes us a bit of time. So we've got, so we've got the employee shift. You notice they've got it in a bit of a table. Actually, no, they just have a filter on it. How did I know this is not a table? Well, starters, I don't know if you guys can see okay, but if you notice
we can see
that,
anything.
yeah. So you notice table is not here. Simple as that. So somebody has applied a filter here. That's the only thing you notice that. And also they have frozen their top row. So we are going to find out what is the job title for Alyssa.
Deborah, excuse me, we cannot see anything. It's just a black
Oh,
screen.
really?
Oh,
Yes.
I actually can see the
No, I can see. I can see, yeah.
Yes, Binar, it's something from your side.
Oh, why I don't?
It happens to me all the time. Maybe exit out of, the best thing to do is exit out of Zoom, and then as soon as I see you come back in, Pinar, I will make sure, I'll wait for a second. So exit Zoom, come back in.
Okay.
And you can still see me good. Cool. Is anybody celebrating the Lunar New Year?
No.
Me, I am going to. Yeah, so finish sweeping the house, do the laundry. Then I think tomorrow night we're going to have hot pot at home. So yeah, I'm excited. It's my favorite time. But we're not going to go anywhere. We're not going to go to the temple or anything like that. We're just going to stay home. So I'm just waiting for her to come back in. So always, no matter, anytime you get a workbook from me, check it out. Just make sure you see what we get here. I think maybe we lost her for life. Oh gosh, I hope not. Oh, there she is. Okay, Bernard is coming back in the room. Okay. And so the question is, how is it? Can you see me now?
Yes. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is going to be as far as we go today. So there's a couple of things we need to go. And if it's okay, I might end up going a little bit over the 4 o'clock mark. If anybody has to leave, let me know, but I want to finish this up. Plus, we're going to be, I've already started recording it, so, or I'll save it or whatever it is I have to do at the end of it. So, hopefully I've recorded it. It would be terrible if I didn't. I'd be so mad at myself.
It shows that it's recording.
Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, so now we need to find out the job title of these people. But remember before, that lovely, neat, and tidy I had a little table up here, and the information I need to find was down here somewhere, where it's very neat and pretty and perfect. Like somebody wrapped it up with a bow. Life is not like that. Welcome to real life VLOOKUPs. Quite often, it will mean that you've got a lot of data on one sheet, and it may mean that you don't want or need or have access to that information. You may only have a little bit of access, or maybe it's going to be on a different sheet like we're going to experience today. This is real life VLOOKUP. So let's have a look at our employee title. So how are we going to find out what the person's title is? First column is employee ID. So we have the employee ID. Then we can go 1, 2, 3 columns. And then we can find it out. Mo, I'm not 100% sure about how this is going to work for you, but it should do. It might be a bit fiddly. I wonder, did I give it a name or not? 1, 2, 3, 4. If you need to, Mo, give your range name, like MID. I'm purposefully not doing it this time because I'm going to absolute it. Okay. But Mo, that might work for you, is to give your table a name. All right, so the only piece of information we know we can depend on is the employee ID. Okay. So this is not as pretty, not as shiny, not as perfect. So again, I'm going to do the insert function, then Mo, I'll do it with you. Then I'm going to select my VLOOKUP, and then I'm going to say OK. What am I looking for? The piece of information I've been told is the employee ID. Don't worry if it's on a different table. The table is on a different sheet. Check this out. So I'm going to go to my employee title. I'm going to select the table like so. Let go. Then how do I return back to my original sheet? By clicking, remember, 1, 2, 3. So I go back to column index number, click on this, and so it brings me back here. So it's 3 columns I need to go to. Is it 3 or is it 2? 2. I don't remember, so I can go back over here, back to my table array, and yeah, it is 3. So go to top. So even if you forget something, don't sweat it. You can jump between them. So we're going to go 3, and for today, everything is false. Now there's one more thing I absolutely categorically must do. I'm going to copy this down right now, so I must remember to select A2 to C15, and I must absolute them. Okay, so it's, if you want, for me, it's function or FN F4. Okay. Why did I do that? Because I wanted to make sure that when I copy that down, actually, I'm going to undo that. I'm going to show you what happens if we don't do it. So bear with me a minute. I'm going to make a huge mistake. Okay. Not paying attention to what I'm doing. I've done it. Too bad, so sad. Okay. So this is where range name might work. So the first one works okay. So far, so good. Let me copy it down. Do you see there that this, because I didn't absolute the cells, these guys are NA, not available. Can I fix this? Yes, I can. Sorry, it's hard to see.
$sign?
Sorry?
We have to put $sign?
$signs, yes, exactly. Or give the table a name. Yes, perfect. And Oh, we haven't done everything in tables yet. So copy it down. Now, I'm always going to be referring to, voila, isn't that a beautiful thing? Okay. So we learned a couple of things. Quite often your table array may be on a different location or a different sheet. Also, if you don't give your table a name or give it a range name, you have to make sure you absolute the cells. All right. So, so for you, we'll do the next one down just for Mo. So it's equals BL. How does he go across these? What am I looking for? Whatever is in this cell here. Comma. Table array. Yep, got to go over here. Got to select my table. And if you don't give it a name, absolute or apply the dollar signs. Comma. This is where you will run into a problem. So then you're going to have to basically say 3. And then you get out of trouble when you get to this. It's not impossible. You just have to be careful about how you do it, okay? It's the only difference. It's not as user-friendly as everything else is. That's the only problem with that one. Okay, so either way, I can copy it down. Okay, so the last one, and we might just get this done before 4 o'clock. This one here, the next one, am I going too fast?
I don't think so.
No. Yeah.
So,
Okay, all right, no is the answer, no. So now this next one is not, again, it's, so let's go have a look. We've done these two guys together. So we've got ingredient hours, orders, and supplier list. Okay, for you, Mo, I'm going to suggest you do this. Just ingredient 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So for you, Mo, just for today, there has to be a better way. I'm sure that because this one is not as black and white and as straightforward, we're going to use a cheat sheet. Okay. And so what I'm going to do down here is I'm going to take advantage of the paste special. Paste. I'm going to go down here to this one here. So it's going to print it as a picture. The reason I'm doing that, Mo, is because what we need is not where everything is. So it's really hard for you to jump between the table and once you jump forward and back.
okay.
So let's have a look. Let's go back, have a look over here. Supplier list. Okay, press escape. So I've got ingredients. Very far left. I'm thinking that's going to be the one we're going to be using. A is the very left, good hint. And B, everything here is unique. And then you've got the supplier name, which is column 2, supplier address, column 3, line of credit. Quite often you'll see a whole bunch of stuff in here that you don't need. Okay. So now let's go back over to my ingredient orders. All right. So this is why even for any one of us here. So I'd like to find out the supplier. That's the piece of information I want. You notice here, I've got the chef as the first one. Don't be fooled by this. The unique identifier, or where we're going to actually go looking for our information, is in the ingredient column. The reason is because it was the first column on the left-hand side. So they really try to mess you up, and it's actually good because of that one aspect. Okay. So I'm going to do the equals VL. Okay. So I'm not going to be fooled and go to the chef. I'm going to go to the ingredient. This is what I'm looking for. I can't believe I didn't mean to type this out, but I did it. Okay. My table array. I'm just going to this. And I'm going to select everything here. Absolute. I guess I did it. This is how I learned how to do it, by the way. And it's, yeah, so you see now, I've got myself into a bit of a pickle. I don't know how many columns I got to fill. So I'm going to come back and do it again. So that's what you might run into, Mo, because of stuff, just the way it is. Most likely, people are going to want to give this table a name, and I will be, I'm going to give it a name just because. Food. Just make my life easier, make your life easier. Okay, so that way both will make your life easier too. So insert function, go to VLOOKUP, and then go to OK. What am I looking for? Don't be fooled. Remember, our gradient is the first column in the other table. There. Table array. I can either, that's one thing they didn't show you in the book. Formulas. Using formula. That part was not in the book. You can actually go to this list here and find whatever it is. So if you're using the insert function box, this is how you can find it. So that's, or just type it in. Okay. Okay, so looking for FOO. As soon as I hit the D key, you're going to find a whole pile of stuff will pop out over here. Okay. And that's the contents of the food table, the food column. Okay. Chardonnay, Charlie, blah, blah, blah. How many columns do I want to go across?
7.
Okay, so it's gonna, what are we looking for? We're looking for supplier 1, 2, I think it is. Yeah, by the looks of it, it's gonna be 2.
2.
Yep. And for today, we're gonna make the assumption it's
Supplier name 2, yes.
yeah. All right.
Not the contact.
That if this time I'm going to come back at, I'm not going to use the range. I'm going to do it where I actually go to the table and I'm going to come back to it. So I'm going to do supplier form. And for my life, I cannot remember which column it is. I'm pretending I don't see it down here. So.
Okay.
And I am telling you, this happens more often than you think it does. I know what it is. I don't. Okay. So what am I looking for? Again, don't be fooled. We are looking for the ingredient potato because that's the first column in the other table. My table array. This time I'm going to go find it. So I'm going to go find my table array and go to my supplier list. I'm going to select my range, and I know I'm looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And soon, so I know it's going to, did we say it's the phone number? Yeah, I did, didn't I?
7.
So column and so how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think it's 7 columns. So I'll go down there. So you notice how if you forget, that's okay. For today, everything is going to be false. And then okay. And so the supplier, this one, I'm just going to do exactly the same way. Mo, there's no magical way. It just you'll figure out how to get around it, but it's sometimes little cheat sheets like this help make your life. So I'm looking for the delivery day. So I know it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you notice the language is slightly different between here and here.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to do the delivery day. Insert function. VLOOKUP. Okay, and I'll come back and do it your way too. So what am I looking for? Potatoes, my favorite thing. Table array.
FOOD.
All of these guys. Food. And I'm looking for the delivery date. Delivers on. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. I'm looking for delivery day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's what it is. I'm good there. Just in case I need to go back. Pressing the tab key down to false. I see nothing red here. I see Mondays here, and I see Mondays here, so all is good for the world. So then I could select all these 3 guys and copy them down.
I think we need to build the $sign too before
if,
copying.
if you have not given it a name, if you have not given it a range name like I did with food, then
okay.
Yeah. So do one or the other.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I did it with 4 minutes to spare. How about that? That's the fastest lesson ever in VLOOKUP. Okay, so let me go and see what your comments are. So So I'm going to stop sharing for a second. And yep. Okay, so that's good. And the two documents I posted, the one with the Starbucks, the good thing about that, the Word document also has John Akinfora's link. And the links I'm going to give you for the match and the index, they are my favorite Leila Garani, so you'll be seeing some of her stuff. She gives you the written instructions, she gives you the video, and she gives you the workbook to practice with it. So there you go. Okay. So we are coming up to the 4 o'clock mark. Is there any questions you had regarding, do you feel that you've learned something about VLOOKUP?
Yes, a lot.
Good.
Learned a lot.
A lot. Perfect.
Yeah, everything is perfect. Thank you so much.
Now you've made my day. Now you've made my day, so that's perfect. So tomorrow, when we come in, first thing is we're going to do the other side of the VLOOKUP. It won't take long. You have the question, you have your mystery question of the day. That's optional. You don't have to do it or not. And I get the feeling is that we're going to I'm going to try and kind of cherry pick the subjects in the book. But if there's something that you know that you don't know about and you want to learn about, other than macros or VBA, I'm not doing VBA, is because there are better people out there to do it than me. If there's anything you come across, please, if you come across it, please find it. You want to, and give me a bit of warning, okay? I can breathe. So
Okay, thank you.
So continue being awesome, continue being fabulous, and I will see you beautiful, groovy people tomorrow. Okay, take care. Has everybody
Thank you.
signed in? Okay, bye.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.